This is question 3.4 from Chapter 11 of Microeconomics by Glenn Hubbard. The question asks, fill in the marginal product and average product of labor in the following table. And the table is given to us as this. So we see that in the first column we have our quantity of workers. The second column gives us our total output. And then we are required to fill in the marginal product of labor and the average product of labor. So let's start with marginal product of labor. Marginal product of labor is simply the additional output that you get from an additional worker. In other words, the change in output from the change in labor. So in this case, we see the change in output, we go from 0 to 100, and the change in labor is from 0 to 1. And our formula gives us 100 for the marginal product of labor. And if we keep applying that same formula, we'll see that the next marginal product of labor is 110. So we have the change from 100 units to 210 units of output, and the change from 1 worker to 2 workers. And if we keep going, we see that for a little while, our marginal product of labor is increasing. So it went from 100 to 110, now to 130, and then we start to see a drop off. Now at 4 workers, it's 120, at 5 workers, it's 100, at 6 workers, it's 90, and at 7 workers, it's 80. So we see sort of an increasing returns to scale and a peak, and then a decreasing returns to scale. Now for average product of labor. Average product of labor is simply the total output divided by the total labor. So for the first worker, we just have 100 units of output divided by the 1 worker, so 100. In the second one, we have a total of 200 units of output among 2 workers. So the average for each worker is 105. And if we continue, we'll see that for a while, the average product of labor is increasing. So on average, we're getting more out of each worker. And then it's going to peak here at 4 workers at 115 before it starts to come down again to 112, then to 108, and all the way down to 104.